Archangel Michael's June 17th warning. What they're planning will shock your entire family. June 17th is not an ordinary date. It is a moment sealed in the vault of divine surveillance. Heaven has watched. The throne has observed. And on the ledger of time, June 17th has been circled in the spirit realm as a day of unveiling, a checkpoint between concealment and confrontation. Let it be known, this message is not casual, not vague, not wide. This is not a general encouragement, nor is it a blanket of comfort for the masses. This is a warning, a precise, divinely timed broadcast, revealed only to those who have been spiritually marked to hear it. Archangel Michael now stands on assignment, with sword unsheathed and wings stretched across regions. The urgency in his voice is not just heavenly, it is holy. He says they are planning something. Their steps are deliberate. Your silence is strategy. And their timing, it is not a coincidence. There are things moving behind your back. There are conversations happening in places you've never walked. There are intentions hidden behind smiles, behind phone calls, behind checking in. And your family, yes, your bloodline, is the true target. Not your job, not your finances, not even your mind. What's moving is calculated warfare aimed at the roots, the family, the foundation, the future generations. What's coming was hidden until now for a reason. It was not time to speak it before. To reveal too early would have caused unnecessary panic or confusion. But now the veil is lifting. The scroll is opening. The trumpet is sounding. The message is being released in this exact hour because the hour has come. And not all will hear. That must be said clearly. Many will scroll past. Many will shrug. Many will sleep through the sound of heaven's alarm, because selective hearing in the spirit is a real thing. Only those aligned, only those sensitive, only those who've been walking in obedience, stillness, and reverence will receive this. You must understand this. To hear this message correctly, your soul must be still. Your heart must be bowed. Your ears must be unclogged. Heaven doesn't shout for attention. It whispers into consecrated spaces. It does not compete with noise. It dwells in silence. And if you are not spiritually ready, you will miss it. So before this message continues, pause. Still your spirit. Close the door, if you must. Silence the distractions. You were not led here by chance. Something divine has brought your eyes to this very screen. This is not just a message. It is not just a date. It is a spiritual threshold. June 17th is not just about them. It is about you. About what you will do next. About whether you will listen now or regret later. Archangel Michael stands at the gates of your timeline, sounding the alarm, announcing, the plan is already moving. But I have come to expose it before it touches your household. Will you listen? Type I am ready to receive in the comments if you sense this word is for you. Blessing code 1414 is now being released. You were led to this for a reason. This was not by chance. This wasn't just another scroll, another click, another video in a long line of noise. This divine moment was scripted before time. Something in your spirit was tugged. Something in your soul was stirred. You didn't just find this. You were summoned to it. And I, Archangel Michael, speak to you now, not with vague comfort but with sharpened truth. I speak not as a distant guardian but as a warrior assigned to your bloodline. You must understand this. What is about to unfold concerns your household. It concerns your name. It concerns your children, your parents, your marriage, your blood. There is a reason this message almost didn't reach you, because what I'm about to reveal has the power to disrupt the enemy's plan entirely. Listen closely. Before the sun sets on June 17th, something will stir in the unseen. A transaction in the spirit. A confrontation in the atmosphere. A trigger, either for blessing or for breakdown. And your posture in this moment will determine what crosses into your realm. This message was not scheduled by man. It was not sent by algorithm. It came through resistance, through silence, through warfare. It was almost blocked. Yes, almost rerouted, almost delayed because hell feared what you would do if you knew. But heaven overruled. The seal was broken. And now, here you are, hearing what others never will. There is a movement, a planning, a whispering taking place behind the veil. It's subtle. It's disguised. It wears the mask of friendliness but carries the weapon of betrayal. And what's most alarming is not their plan, but how close they are to executing it. Closer than you think. Closer than you feel. They are already in motion. I was sent here to intercept the silence, to shake you awake before the damage is done. Because what is coming may divide. What is coming may confuse. What is coming may even try to turn your own heart against those you love. But you must stand firm. You hear me, child of the Most High. You must not flinch. You must not react. You must discern. Because the trap has been laid, and it will be your wisdom, not your emotion, that dismantles it. This is not the time to vent. This is not the hour to fight in the flesh. This is the moment to guard the gates, to shield your atmosphere, to quiet your spirit. Because what you see in the natural is only a shadow of what's happening in the spirit. And yes, they are closer than you know. They've studied you. They've timed your habits. They know your rhythm. The enemy has watched, but he has miscalculated one thing. He forgot that you are covered. He forgot that I am stationed. He forgot that when heaven gives a warning, it is always followed by a divine reversal if the one warned will listen. So listen well. Your awareness is your weapon. Your sensitivity is your sword. If you respond correctly to this word, if you turn inward instead of outward, if you elevate instead of retaliate, you will not only block their plan, you will expose it. And what was meant to trap you will testify for you. Let this message be a clarion call, a sacred thunder sent into your soul. I am not just speaking to your ears. I am speaking to your spirit, to your generational line, to your children's children. They cannot afford for you to ignore this. What you do in the next few days shifts the next few decades. You must enter this window with discernment. You must walk slowly, talk cautiously, and pray consistently. Even if you feel nothing, obey anyway. Even if no one around you is stirring, remain alert. Because heaven does not send unnecessary warnings. And this, beloved one, is a divine emergency. You are not being warned because you are weak. You are being warned because you are crucial. You are essential. You are key to the realignment. That is why they've targeted your peace. That is why your family has been at war beneath the surface. That is why the smiles have felt forced, the conversations short, the atmosphere heavy, because the enemy has planted confusion to delay divine conversation. But I declare, it will not work. I decree, no plot will prosper. I announce, this household shall rise with clarity and power. If you stay in posture, if you hold the line, if you remain quiet when provoked, discerning when confronted, and prayerful when tempted, you will walk into June 18th stronger, wiser, and surrounded by angelic fire. Heaven is watching your next move. Hell is hoping you'll break pattern. And I am here to ensure you remember, you were never unprotected. This warning is a gift. This word is a wall. This moment is a mantle. Now pause. Breathe. Receive. And prepare, for the next phase has already begun. Type "I am listening" in the comments if this message has stirred your spirit. Blessing code 1717 is activating divine insight over your household. There has been a shift in your home. You felt it, though no one dared speak it. You've walked through the rooms and noticed the silence isn't peace, it's distance. The laughter sounds rehearsed. The connection feels forced. Something had been off, but it wasn't always this way, was it? Listen closely. The recent unrest in your family is not random. It's not a mood. It's not stress. It's not just miscommunication. It is disruption. Designed, deliberate, and deeply spiritual. Something hath been watching. Something has been whispering. And something has been planting discord in the most sacred places of your life. I, Archangel Michael, have come to confirm what your spirit already knew but your heart didn't want to face. There are secrets hiding behind smiles. There are unspoken tensions weighing down every shared moment. There are looks exchanged that carry volumes of betrayal, yet no one dares to admit it. Because the pain is personal, and the mystery, even more so. Someone you love has been speaking without words. Their silence is not empty, it is filled with meaning. Their absence isn't accidental, it's strategic. The energy has shifted, and your soul has caught it like static in the air. You've asked yourself, why are we drifting when nothing was said? You've wondered, why do I feel like I'm defending myself when no one's accusing me? Because there is a spiritual wind pushing people into emotional corners, and you are the one chosen to see through the illusion. The enemy doesn't always attack with rage. Sometimes he enters quietly, gently pulling threads until the fabric of a family begins to unravel. And that's what has been happening in your house. The whispers you've dismissed, the emotional withdrawals you've excused, the tension you've tolerated, it's all been a web, carefully spun. Not by them, but through them. Not against you, but against your purpose. Because if the enemy can divide the house, he can delay the blessing. And this house, this family, this sacred circle is next in line for breakthrough. There's been a spirit of confusion released. A fog that makes everything feel 10 degrees off. You've been misreading motives, doubting intentions, pulling back when you should have leaned in. And yet even now, you feel unsure of who's really with you. Because someone has been carrying a second face. And the one they show you is not the one they show in secret. Now the mystery deepens. Why do the same arguments keep rising? Why do the same wounds keep opening? Why is it that every time you step forward in faith, something in your household stirs up chaos? It is not coincidence. It is spiritual interference. And you, the discerning one, are under pressure because of your insight. You see through too much. You feel too deeply. And they don't know how to interpret your silence. But I tell you this, your stillness is not weakness. It is wisdom. And while others are caught in emotional confusion, you are receiving heavenly instruction. That ache you feel, that tightness in your chest when you walk into certain rooms, that sudden desire to leave when a conversation begins, those are divine alarms. Those are spirit codes alerting you. Something has been stirred in the atmosphere, and you must not ignore it. They may call you distant, They may say you're overthinking, but heaven calls you assigned. You were placed in this family, in this generation, at this time, to be the one who breaks what no one else dared confront. You are the breaker of silence. You are the discerner of disruption. You are the one the enemy fears will notice the patterns and undo them. Yes, the patterns. The repeated miscommunication. The inherited rage. The quick shutdowns. The shame cycles. The manipulation behind apologies. These aren't just bad habits. They are ancient systems designed to keep your family emotionally handicapped and spiritually muted. But now, the veil is being pulled back, and you are beginning to see what no one else was brave enough to say out loud. So brace yourself, because clarity often brings confrontation. And once you see, you cannot unsee. Once you feel it, you cannot deny it. And once you are chosen to disrupt the dysfunction, you must walk forward with courage, even if you walk alone for a season. There is someone you've trusted who has been carrying confusion into your space. Not because they hate you, but because they are being used unconsciously to carry out a plan that was not theirs to begin with. Do not retaliate. Do not accuse. But watch. Pray. Be still. For in the next few days there will be an unmasking, a slip of the tongue, a misplaced reaction, a sudden exposure, and what you've been sensing will become undeniable. This is not the end. This is not destruction. This is the beginning of divine cleansing. God is exposing so He can heal. He is shaking so He can restore. He is uncovering so He can realign. But before the rebuilding comes, there must be a moment where the walls crack and the truth floods in. You are in that moment now. If this message resonates with you and you feel moved to support, consider giving a super thanks with contributions of up to $10. Your kindness helps us bring more powerful content your way. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating via PayPal using the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel for more prophetic revelations, spiritual alerts, and divine insight delivered just when you need it. Your journey is sacred, and we're walking it with you. Type "I receive clarity" in the comments if this word has exposed what you've been carrying. Blessing code 666 is now surrounding you with divine truth and holy protection. You have been asking, why is there so much tension? Why does it feel like I'm being tested in my own house? And the answer comes now, from the throne of the Almighty, because your growth has activated resistance. Because your elevation has awakened warfare. Because your light has disturbed the shadows that once felt safe in your atmosphere. This is not just family conflict. It is a divine confrontation. And you have stepped into the center of a battle not merely personal, but spiritual. You must stop interpreting this as a breakdown of communication or coincidence of timing. What you are facing is not of flesh and blood. No, is something older, something darker, something spiritual. And this moment has come not to destroy you, but to reveal you. Because only when the pressure rises do the hidden roots come to the surface. And now, the spiritual roots of opposition are showing themselves in full. The reason you're feeling this so deeply is because you were chosen to break what others have learned to live with. What was normalized in your family: silence, secrecy, manipulation, betrayal masked as love. You were not born to accept it. You were born to confront it. You were born to shift it. You were born to route the entire generational flow. But with that calling comes confrontation. And now you see it. Now you feel it. Now it surrounds you in moments you didn't even provoke. People reacting to you as if you started something, when all you did was stand in truth. That is what happens when spiritual fire meets storm and darkness. Even your presence becomes a threat. The Holy One says this: they attack what threatens the darkness. And you, yes, you, have become a threat. Not because you fought, not because you shouted, not because you forced anything, but because your very obedience, your very presence, your silent refusal to fold, has threatened what once reigned in your bloodline without resistance. Your spiritual elevation has not gone unnoticed. Heaven has seen your secret obedience, your silent endurance, your quiet tears, and yes, your choosing not to retaliate when everything in you wanted to. That busts you. It carries power. It silence. It echoes in heaven. That refusal to descend into pettiness and provocation. It is being recorded, even now. Yes, I tell you by the order of the throne, your reaction is being recorded in heaven. Not the argument, not the accusation, not the side comments, not the betrayal, but your reaction. What you do with the pressure will either open the heavens over your house or delay what God wants to pour. This is why the pressure increased. This is why the phone call hit like a dagger. This is why the conversation ended with confusion and not peace. Because the enemy senses your elevation. He knows what happens if you pass this test. He knows what heaven has already prepared for your next level. So the warfare is not random. It is timed. And I, Michael, have come to remind you that no weapon formed will prosper if you do not react in the flesh. You are being watched. Not only by man, but by angels, by the cloud of witnesses, by the throne. And every time you respond with grace, every time you pull back instead of striking, every time you stay quiet and pray, you build an altar of honor before God. And heaven responds to altars more than arguments. This is not about your family turning against you. It is about what your anointing has stirred within them. Because light will always agitate darkness before it liberates it. You are not the cause of the shaking. You are the evidence that a shaking was overdue. They don't hate you. They're afraid of what your clarity exposes. They don't resent your peace. They don't know how to receive it because they've never known peace without performance. And you, being unbothered, being whole, being discerning, you become a mirror that reveals their unrest. So let the conflict refine you, not define you. Let it deepen your stillness, not drag you into drama. Let it push you further into purpose, not provoke you into petness. Because this moment, this trial, this pressure is a divine appointment to prove to the heavens and to the history of your bloodline that you are not like them. You are the shift. You are the repairer of the breach. You are the breaker of patterns. And the greatest truth of all, heaven is not testing you to harm you. Heaven is qualifying you to trust you. You are being refined in the fire not to be consumed, but to be revealed. The conflict is not your curse. It is your confirmation. Confirmation that you were never meant to be molded by dysfunction, but marked by destiny. I stand with you now, sword drawn, wings encamped around your dwelling. You are not in this alone. The conflict may look natural, but the victory will be supernatural. And though they plot, though they speak, though they misunderstand, you will rise. And when this storm passes, you will not just have survived it. You will have shifted the atmosphere for generations. Type "I am anointed" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1122 is now activated over your household. The wind has shifted. You can feel it even if you haven't named it. There is a stirring in the unseen, a tremor in the atmosphere, and the Holy One speaks now with solemn urgency. A shift is already happening. It's not coming. It's not scheduled for later. It has already begun. Even as you hear these words, something in the spiritual realm has tipped forward, and heaven is sounding the alarm before the ripple hits the surface. You must understand. This is not a vague warning. This is a strategic dispatch. This is divine intelligence being revealed ahead of the enemy's next move. I, Archangel Michael, have been permitted to speak it, not to scare you, but to prepare you. Because what's about to be uncovered in your life will require your discernment, your stillness, and your obedience. If you try to handle this with your flesh, you will fall into the trap. But if you remain in the Spirit, you will walk into your greatest level of authority yet. Before June 20th, there will be a confrontation, a revealing, or a sudden exposure. This is not metaphor. This is prophetic timing. There is something that's been brewing in the dark, behind your back, behind their words, behind their intentions. And now it is coming to the surface. It may come through a conversation, a message, a misstep, a sudden outburst. And you must not ignore it. You must not dismiss it as drama or coincidence. It is divine interruption. You have prayed for truth. You have asked for discernment. You have declared, God, if anything is not from you, remove it from me. Now, the answer to that prayer is arriving, and it may not come softly. It may not be packaged in peace. It may sting before it saves. But it is heaven intervening to clear your atmosphere before you enter your next. You cannot afford to carry hidden snakes into your next season. Mark this in your spirit. In 3 days, a truth will rise. A veil will be lifted. A mask will fall. And the moment it happens, you will know. This is what heaven warned you about. But hear me now. Your reaction in that moment determines everything. Do not react emotionally. Do not move impulsively. Do not speak what you feel. Instead, retreat inward. Listen to the Spirit. Let heaven speak before you respond in the natural. The enemy is counting on your fatigue. That's why it's been heavier lately. That's why you've been questioning everything. That's why your sleep has been shallow, your energy low, your clarity fogged. The strategy of the enemy is to wear you out in the spirit so that when the moment of decision comes, you're too tired to stand in discernment. But I have come to renew your strength. I have come to announce that you will not fall prey to spiritual fatigue. You will rise in supernatural stamina. Do not underestimate the weight of this moment. What you do next, what you choose, what you permit, what you walk away from, will not only affect this week. It will shape your family for years. One decision, one posture, one divine yes or one carnal no can alter the inheritance of generations to come. That is how serious this window is. That is why the warning came now. Because heaven will not allow this transition to be hijacked by emotional warfare. There is someone, a presence, a voice, a connection that is about to be tested by fire, and you will finally see them for who they really are. Do not resist the revelation. Do not mourn what God removes. You asked for protection. Now you must accept it, even when it comes wrapped in exposure. Because what looks like loss is actually deliverance. The Lord declares, I will not allow you to be tied to what threatens your future. I will remove it before it ruins you. So prepare your spirit. Anchor your emotions. Consecrate your thoughts. The shaking is mercy. The separation is strategy. The confrontation is clarity. And when it comes, remember this word. 3 days. Watch how they speak. Watch how they shift. Watch how something small becomes the doorway to something big. It may be a tone in their voice. It may be an accidental reveal. It may be something you weren't meant to hear, but heaven made sure you did. And in that moment, don't chase closure. Don't plead for understanding. Just discern and obey. Let this be written upon your spirit. One decision changes everything for generations. Choose obedience. Choose vision. Choose purpose over comfort. Even if it costs you familiarity. Even if it means walking alone. Even if it hurts. Because what is waiting on the other side of this obedience is breakthrough. The kind of breakthrough that will outlive you. Heaven is moving swiftly. Hell is scrambling. And you, chosen one, are standing at the intersection of exposure and elevation. Do not miss this moment. Do not fumble the call. Do not blink when it's time to move. I will go before you. I will guard the gate. I will stand behind you as confirmation. But you must make the decision. What they plan for your family will not stand if you stand first in obedience. Type "I stand in obedience" in the comments if you're ready for divine confrontation. Blessing code 888 is now unlocking prophetic clarity and supernatural peace. Now that the warning has been released, now that the exposure has been announced, now that the veil has been torn, you must enter the posture of protection. This is not the hour to react. This is not the moment to confront. This is the season to retreat, to receive, to recalibrate under the wings of divine safety. Listen to me now, not as a distant messenger, but as your appointed guardian, positioned by the Most High over your bloodline. I stand not to scare you, but to shield you. I come not to incite panic, but to instill strategy. Heaven has already gone before you. What comes next is not yours to fight. It is yours to withstand. And the only way to withstand this wave is to embrace the divine instruction of stillness. You must hear this clearly. Stillness is not weakness. Silence is not surrender. Tonus is not sloth. In this moment, the most powerful move you can make is to not move at all, except into the secret place. Your safest weapon is not your voice, it is your restraint. Your most dangerous threat to the enemy is not your aggression, it is your alignment. Because what the enemy cannot predict, he cannot prepare for. And he has never known what to do with the one who goes silent after a storm. He thrives on your reactions. He feeds off your emotional outbursts. He tracks your patterns to provoke familiar behavior. But when you withdraw into the spirit, when you speak less and listen more, when you become untraceable in the natural and hypersensitive in the divine, you break every blueprint hell had against you. So I tell you now, go quiet. Withdraw in reverence. Anchor yourself in the presence of the Most High. Let your posture confuse every demonic force assigned to monitor your steps. This is the phase where you are being hidden, not because you are weak, but because you are being sharpened in secret. In this hour, return to spiritual practice, not performance, not show, but holy habits. Quiet prayers whispered behind closed doors. Written declarations placed under pillows, inside closets, across doorposts. Scriptures spoken into your atmosphere until the air itself bends in submission. You do not need a platform. You need a prayer room. Repeat after me, even now. No weapon formed against this house shall prosper. No whisper shall take root. No plan shall prevail. This house is a sanctuary of divine light, and every dark intention is cast down, cancelled, and made powerless under the blood of Jesus. Heaven will do what you cannot see, and that must be enough for you. That must satisfy you. You don't need to control what unfolds. You don't need to manipulate how people respond. You don't need to chase apologies or force explanations. Because right now, the Lord is warring for you in realms beyond your understanding. I've been dispatched to guard your perimeter, but only you can guard your peace. Only you can shut the door to distraction. Only you can choose to become untouchable through surrender. And heaven is waiting to flood your home with clarity, but it will not compete with your chaos. Stillness is your invitation for heaven to sit down in your atmosphere. If you will be quiet, he will speak. If you will be stilled, he will move. If you will be surrendered, you will surround. But if you panic, if you react, if you begin to let the flesh guide you again, you will short-circuit what was already sent for your deliverance. The enemy hopes you will return to survival mode. The enemy hopes you will get loud, get angry, lash out, break down, self-sabotage, or even try to prove your discernment to others. Don't fall for it. This is not the time to explain. This is the time to elevate. Some will never understand what God is doing in your life because they were not assigned to see it. The divine instruction for this hour is clear. Retreat, listen, protect your peace. Do not overshare. Do not vent to those who are spiritually blind. Your soul needs consecration, not confirmation. Go deeper in your inner room. Go deeper in your meditation. Go deeper in the presence of the one who sees all. Because this moment is your cocoon. This moment is your cave. This moment is your holy preparation for the next wave of glory. Remember this. The enemy's favorite entry point is through exhaustion and distraction. That's why your mind has been racing. That's why the nights have been restless. That's why the urge to isolate has become louder. But heaven is not calling you into isolation for despair. It's calling you into solitude for revelation. There is something God wants to say to you, and only to you. You are not being hidden to be ignored. You are being hidden to be fortified. You are being covered in stillness so the enemy cannot trace the strategy being imparted to your soul. You are being shut in, like Noah in the ark, because what is coming is not meant to touch you. If you obey the instruction, to speak only what the Spirit says to speak. Move only when the Spirit says to move. Choose silence over explanation and prayer over reaction. This moment requires high-level discipline. But the reward will be divine security, unshakable peace, and supernatural direction. I will remain by your side. I will block what you cannot see. I will patrol the gates of your atmosphere while you submit to the Spirit. But this instruction must not be delayed. Retreat now. Listen now. Obey now. Stillness is your strongest weapon, and silence is your shield. Type "I am protected" in the comments if you receive this instruction. Blessing code 777 is now wrapping your home in angelic fire and divine strategy. You've made it through the pressure. You've endured the silence. You obeyed the retreat. And now, heaven declares, the shift has begun. What tried to break you has become the very fire that forged you. What was meant to confuse you has clarified your calling. What the enemy used to isolate you has instead ignited you. You are not who you were before this storm. You have changed, and heaven is about to reveal what the fire has made you into. You've outgrown their old image of you. Let the truth echo like thunder in your spirit. You've outgrown their labels, their assumptions, their manipulations, their limitations. You don't fit in their boxes anymore. You don't respond the way you used to. You don't cower when accused. You don't shrink when confronted. You've evolved in silence. And now, heaven will announce what has been reborn in you. I, Archangel Michael, have watched as you wept in secret and chose obedience over vengeance. I have seen the fire rise around you, not to consume you, but to refine you. And now I stand before you, announcing that your authority has shifted. You no longer beg for peace, you command it. You no longer plead for clarity, you embody it. You no longer apologize for your discernment, you walk in it, unshaken. Let the transformation be named. You are no longer the easy target. You are no longer the one who folds to pressure. You are no longer the one who carries guilt that doesn't belong to you. You are no longer the fixture of dysfunction, the absorber of chaos, the emotional dumping ground for others who refuse to grow. That chapter is closed. That season is sealed. That version of you is buried in the ashes of obedience, and what has risen is pure fire. Heaven now calls you eagle, for your perspective has lifted above the chaos. You are no longer fighting in the dirt. You are soaring in clarity. While others argue from the ground, you see the battlefield from the sky. You are no longer bound to their cycles. You've outflown their storms. You've risen in sight and strength. You are not better, but you are becoming. And that difference is divine. Heaven now calls you Phoenix, for you have died to what was false and resurrected in divine power. You are proof that the fire does not destroy the chosen. It reveals them. You are evidence that rejection does not derail destiny. It unlocks it. You are no longer defined by what was done to you. You are now distinguished by how you responded to it. And what has emerged from the ashes is unstoppable. Heaven now calls you morning light, for you break the night. Your very presence signals a shift. Your atmosphere carries illumination. You do not even have to speak. The spirit within you announces your authority. Darkness cannot hide when you enter a room. Confusion cannot stay when you begin to pray. You are not just light. You are the sign that night is over. This fire has changed your language. You now speak differently, with purpose, with command, with peace that pierces. You do not explain anymore, you declare. You do not chase anymore, you align. You do not panic anymore, you prophesy. Because the same fire that tried to silence you now powers your voice with heaven's echo. This transformation is not cosmetic. It is not for show. It is spiritual maturity. It is holy ascension. It is mantle recognition. And now that you've been refined, heaven will begin to put weight behind your words, acceleration under your steps, and fire within your assignments. You will walk into rooms and shift them. You will carry conversations that activate people's healing. You will dream and see nations in your sleep. This is not hype. This is holy. But you must keep this posture. Do not return to smallness. Do not engage in pointless battles. Do not explain the fire to those who never saw your ashes. Do not allow guilt to talk you back into cages you've already broken open. You are not who they remember, and they are not entitled to access what they refuse to honor. You carry divine upgrades now. You hear faster. You see deeper. You discern cleaner. You walk lighter. And heaven has placed a line around your peace. Cross it, and consequences follow. You are not being prideful. You are being protected. And heaven will now enforce the boundary you were once too timid to establish. You are no longer manipulated by words. You are moved by presence. And the presence of God in your life is stronger now than it has ever been. That is the result of the fire. That is the outcome of the pruning. That is the reward of submission, divine clarity and supernatural strength. So let the new version of you stand. Let them adjust to your silence. Let them wrestle with your boundaries. Let them realize they can no longer sway you with tears or guilt or shame. because heaven is done watching you shrink to make others feel comfortable in their bondage. You are light. You are fire. You are shift. You are chosen. Type "I have shifted" in the comments if you can feel your old self breaking away. Blessing code 999 is now igniting divine power over your new identity. Hear this now, with soberness and reverence. The season you just walked through was not punishment. It was preparation. The resistance you faced was not evidence of heaven's silence, but proof of heaven's precision. Every tear, every betrayal, every silence, every misunderstanding, every night you lay awake asking why, it all carried purpose. It all carried weight. It all was leading to this exact hour. This is the unveiling. This is the revealing. This is the moment where heaven no longer hides what has been building in the spirit. You were being prepared for leadership, and the fire was necessary to strip away every version of you that couldn't carry that mantle. You were not being destroyed. You were being disciplined for glory. You were not being rejected. You were being rerouted for divine authority. I, Archangel Michael, declare this to you now. The assignment you feared you'd never reach is about to sit in your lap. The door you thought had closed forever is about to open with no explanation. The inheritance you thought skipped you is about to chase you down. Heaven has decided, and your name has been placed upon the scroll. You are next in line. You are being summoned. You are being marked. Let this truth shake the chains off your soul. The trial was not to kill you. It was to qualify you. Because heaven does not assign leadership to the untested. Glory does not rest upon the undisciplined. And elevation never comes without a season of stripping. You had to lose who they thought you were. You had to outgrow the space they kept trying to trap you in. You had to go through what others would not survive, because your destiny requires a strength they never needed. What you endured silently is now being announced prophetically. Heaven has remembered your name. Heaven has weighed your endurance. Heaven has reviewed your reactions. And the conclusion has been made. You are ready. Ready to step into authority. Ready to walk in clarity. Ready to carry a mantle that scares the very forces that came against you. Yes, you are being elevated, but not to be famous. You are being elevated to be trusted. Trusted to carry the weight of intercession. Trusted to speak when others stay silent. Trusted to break chains off bloodlines too tired to even pray anymore. Your yes didn't just move you forward, it moved generations. Let this word enter your bones. Heaven has announced your season of return. Return to identity. Return to focus. Return to purpose. Return to the assignment that was once spoken over you in whispers. This isn't a new call. This is a remembered call. This is heaven revisiting what was declared over your life before you were ever betrayed, before you were ever silenced, before you ever doubted your worth. You haven't missed it. You haven't fallen behind. You haven't lost what was yours. You were hidden for the right moment, and the right moment is now. This next season won't be about force. It will be about flow. You won't have to knock down doors. They'll open when you walk. You won't have to fight for recognition. Heaven has already endorsed you. There is a prophetic assignment hovering over you now, and it is not casual. Your voice carries fire. Your presence carries clarity. Your prayers carry thunder. When you speak now, angels will move. When you declare now, things will shift. When you write now, the atmosphere will tremble. You are not the same, and now heaven is letting it be known. In the Spirit, your name has been remembered. Your identity has been sealed. Your purpose has been stamped with fire. and what is coming will confirm what you already know deep within. You were born for this. The ones who doubted you will have to watch you rise. The ones who left you will be silenced by your elevation. The ones who misread your silence will see the authority that silence produced. And through it all, you will remain anchored, because this time you're not rising by pride, you're rising by divine appointment. So get ready. Get dressed in the Spirit. Clear the distractions. Reclaim your oil. Heaven is about to place you in rooms you didn't campaign for, platforms you didn't chase, opportunities you didn't manipulate to get. Why? Because heaven has announced, your time is now. If this message resonates with your spirit and you feel led to sow into this ministry, consider giving a super thanks. Every $5, $10, or $20 contribution fuels more content like this and helps us spread these prophetic words across the globe. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating via PayPal using the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for ongoing prophetic insights, divine instructions, and spiritual preparation, delivered exactly when you need it. You are not alone on this journey. Type "My time is now" in the comments if you feel this call reaching your bones. Blessing code 1444 is activating divine recognition and supernatural favor over your next season. Certainly. Now we step into the phase where revelation meets responsibility. The prophetic hath been released. Now comes the call. Let us continue with, now that you've seen what's beneath the surface, now that the masks have fallen and the silence has spoken louder than words, now that heaven has revealed why the warfare came so suddenly, so violently, so personally, you must answer. You must respond. You must say yes. Because revelation without activation is delay. And this next move in your life cannot be delayed any longer. The time for hesitating is over. The hour for second-guessing is gone. The season for playing small has expired. This is the moment your destiny demands alignment. I, Archangel Michael, speak now with urgency and clarity. Heaven has opened the scroll with your name on it. But the scroll cannot be fulfilled without your agreement. You must say yes to the call. Not a hesitant yes. Not a partial yes. Not a yes if it's convenient. But a spirit-born yes. The kind that shakes your habits, disturbs your comfort, and demands everything you've been holding back. Because what God is about to do through you will require all of you. This is not a halfway mantle. This is a full surrender assignment. You waited for God to move. But now, heaven waits for you to respond. You've said, Lord, show me what's next. And heaven now says, declare it. Step into it. Speak what I've shown you. This is the season where your words are weapons, and your declarations are blueprints. You must write the vision. You must speak the truth. You must proclaim what heaven has placed inside your belly. There are things that have not moved in your life simply because you've not yet commanded them to move. There are doors that have not opened because you've not knocked with authority. There are assignments that remain suspended in the spirit, waiting your voice to unlock them. You are not waiting on divine timing. Divine timing is waiting on your obedience. You must speak what the Spirit is whispering. You must decree out loud what you've been journaling in silence. Heaven responds to sound. Angels move on declaration. Authority manifests through speech. Write the vision and speak it daily. Call your house into order. Call your mind into discipline. Call your body into alignment. Call your destiny into manifestation. This is not just encouragement. This is activation. Do not delay. Do not doubt. Do not waste another sunrise wondering if you're ready. Heaven already said you are. The enemy knows you are. That's why he's tried to confuse you. That's why the warfare hath been so targeted, so intense, so timely. Because the moment you fully activate, his grip on your generation breaks. Understand this clearly. Your obedience is not just personal, it's generational. When you say yes, chains fall off your bloodline. When you say yes, prayers your ancestors whispered in silence are answered with power. When you say yes, heaven builds altars of remembrance in your name, tied to the obedience of this very moment. And yes, this activation comes with cost. You may have to lose things. You may be misunderstood. You may walk alone. But I tell you this in power and truth. You will not walk empty. You will not walk uncovered. And you will not walk unnoticed by heaven. For the one who called you has already gone before you, clearing paths and placing provision where your feet have yet to tread. You've waited for confirmation. This is it. You've asked for a sign. This is it. You've wondered if the timing is right. This is the moment heaven hath been preparing you for. The angels are already in motion. The atmosphere is already shifting. The waters have been stirred. And you are the one chosen to step in. But hear me well. This window will not remain open forever. There is a divine urgency behind this call. The enemy will try to send distractions, delays, and detours in the next few days. Don't fall for them. Don't lower your discernment. Don't get pulled back into conversations that no longer carry life. You must guard the door to your destiny with holy ferocity. So now, speak, declare, activate. Stand in front of the mirror and prophecy over yourself. Speak life over your vision. Announce your assignment. Say it until your soul believes it, until your bones tremble with the weight of it. Because when you activate your agreement, you authorize heaven's movement. You don't need the approval of man. You don't need the applause of crowds. You don't need the validation of those who couldn't see your value before the warfare began. You need only to say yes, and say it with boldness, and say it without apology. Because you were not called for comfort, you were chosen for impact. There is oil dripping from heaven even now. Oh, for leadership. Oil for healing. Oil for entrepreneurship. Oil for prophetic insight. It is flowing toward those who will activate. Toward those who will say, "Here I am. Send me." Let that be your cry. Let that be your echo. Let that be your answer. Type yes, Lord, in the comments if you are stepping into divine activation. Blessing code 1010 is releasing acceleration over every area you commit in obedience. There are things happening around you right now that your eyes cannot see and your ears cannot hear. But your spirit has already caught the shift. You felt the changes in the air. You felt the tension without words. You felt the pull to go deeper, even though nothing on the outside looked urgent. That is because heaven has begun a silent exchange. And you, chosen one, are in the center of it. What is taking place right now is not visible to your natural senses, but it is as real as the breath in your lungs. There is a divine transaction unfolding over your life. What was stolen is being returned. What was delayed is being released. What was bound is being loosed. And all of this is happening in silence. You haven't heard the news yet, but your name is being spoken in rooms you've never entered. You haven't seen the door yet, but the hinges have begun to move. You haven't signed the papers yet, but the agreement in the Spirit has already been made. What was taken from your family through injustice, through deception, through disobedience, is now being redeemed. I, Archangel Michael, have stood at these spiritual courtrooms before. I've seen the angels bring forth the petitions of the righteous. I've seen the tears of the overlooked laid before the throne like incense. I've seen ancestors, men and women long past, who interceded for a day they never got to see, and I've seen those prayers remembered. I've seen the blood of the obedient cry louder than the curses of the rebellious. And I've seen God answer. Right now, your obedience has triggered a series of events that can no longer be reversed. Heaven is repaying what was lost. But you must understand, it won't always look the way you expect. Because restoration in the spirit often begins with discomfort in the natural. Sudden endings, divine removals, strange conversations, these aren't random. They're signals that something is being realigned above you so something can be restored around you. There are angels negotiating on your behalf even now. There is an inheritance with your name on it, and they are fighting for its release. Not just finances, not just favor, but revelation, peace, authority, territory in the spirit that was meant to be passed down but was forfeited through sin and silence. Now heaven says, it returns through you. Yes, you, the one they overlooked. You, the one who was mocked for being too deep, too sensitive, too serious. You, the one who prayed when no one listened, who fasted when no one else cared, who stayed quiet while being misunderstood. You are the legal access point for divine reversal. And your yes, your purity, your posturing has opened up generational portals. What you thought was just a wilderness season was actually an initiation. You were being introduced to the realm of spirit-led authority. That restlessness in your sleep, that wasn't anxiety, it was angelic movement. That sudden release of emotion in prayer, that wasn't random, it was heaven's burden shifting onto your shoulders. You were being trained to carry what others dropped. Dreams have intensified because spiritual doors have opened. You've been dreaming of faces, places, and timelines that don't belong to your memory. But your spirit recognizes them. That's because you are walking in realms your ancestors saw but could not enter. You are now living in the answers to prayers prayed before your birth. And heaven had been waiting for someone in your line to survive the fire long enough to claim the inheritance. You are that one. There are moments of deep tiredness you cannot explain. That's not weakness. That's the spiritual tension of inheritance being transferred. Your body feels it. Your soul senses it. The pressure is not because you're failing. It's because you're stepping into what others forfeited. That's not just favor. That's legacy. Nothing was lost, only transferred. And now heaven is returning what belongs to your name. Your authority is being recalibrated. Your anointing is being adjusted. Your steps are being rewritten. And you must be careful not to treat these quiet days as insignificant. They are not silent. They are sacred. This is why God kept you hidden. Why He told you to retreat. Why He made you stay low when you wanted to rise. Because some of the greatest miracles don't happen on platforms. They happen in prayer closets. And right now, the spirit realm is heavy with activity. Heaven is moving swiftly, but silently. So don't panic when things shift suddenly. Don't grieve what walks away. Don't question what closes without warning. You must trust that what you cannot hear with your ears is being confirmed in the courts of heaven. And when the appointed hour comes, the manifestation will arrive without struggle, because the price was already paid in silence. The enemy doesn't want you to believe this part. He wants you to think nothing is happening. He wants you to get discouraged during the silence. But I tell you now, the silence is where the settlement is happening. And when the silence breaks, your life will never look the same. So stay anchored. Stay sensitive. Keep listening. Don't underestimate your dreams. Don't dismiss the random verses that rise in your spirit. Don't ignore the patterns. You are standing in a divine exchange. And what's being released now will ripple for generations. Type "I receive my inheritance" in the comments if you know something has shifted in the spirit. Blessing Code 2020 is now aligning heaven's unseen movements with your visible breakthrough. The gavel has struck in the courts of heaven. The verdict has been rendered. And the voice of the Lord echoes across realms and generations. Enough. Justice is mine. Now I will repay. What was done in darkness is about to be exposed in light. What was hidden behind polite betrayal and friendly dissection is about to come to the surface. Not to shame, but to shift it. Not to condemn, but to correct it. Not to destroy, but to deliver. You are entering the hour of spiritual justice, and heaven will not be silent anymore. You have waited, long and in silence, for something to make sense, for a divine explanation, for someone to acknowledge what they did or didn't do. You kept your head down. You kept your mouth shut. You chose peace over pride. You chose love over revenge. And heaven saw every quiet decision you made. And now, justice is moving on your behalf. I, Archangel Michael, declare this with fire. The very place where you were dishonored will become the place where you are elevated. The voices that whispered behind your back will be forced to speak your name in honor. The ones who counted you out will watch as God counts you in. What they planned for shame is becoming your platform. What they orchestrated for evil is birthing your legacy. Understand this: divine justice is not petty. Heaven does not play in emotion. But what is righteous must be restored. What was stolen must be returned. What was misaligned must be corrected. And heaven has kept record of every seed you planted, every moment you wept, every time you withheld wrath when you could have spoken. That silence, that submission, it has been counted as holy. And now, the scales are tipping. Let the reversal begin. The table is turning. The wind is shifting. The voice of the Lord is thundering. I will honor the ones who honored me in secret. This is not just breakthrough. This is vindication. And when God vindicates, He does not whisper. He makes a public spectacle of demonic assignments. He ensures that even your enemies will say, "Surely the hand of God was upon them." They tried to bury you in narrative. They tried to surround you in confusion. They tried to convince others to see you through their distorted lens. But what they didn't know, what they forgot, is that you belong to a just God, and that God hath been watching, weighing, and waiting. And now He says, I will restore. I will repay. I will raise up what they tried to bury. The spiritual reversal is not a distant promise. It is already unfolding. What once felt like delay is now acceleration. The closed doors are now openings. The withheld opportunities are now flooding in. The not yet is now becoming yes. And every place of humiliation, every room where you were silenced, mocked, disregarded, overlooked, you are returning, not with bitterness but with brilliance. You will be honored where you were humiliated. That is the decree of the Lord. Not just given back what was taken, but returned with interest. Tenfold restoration. Double portion favor. Triple anointing for your restraint. What they thought they could delay, heaven has decided to double. But hear me now. This reversal is not for revenge. It's for purpose. This is not a comeback story. It's a kingdom story. God is not raising you to prove people wrong. He is raising you to prove himself right. He is elevating you not just for applause, but for assignment. He is opening doors that pride cannot enter. And that is why he allowed you to be humbled first, so that what's coming wouldn't corrupt your soul. You didn't just survive injustice. You were molded by it. You were shaped in silence. You were fortified in the fire. And now, heaven says, you can carry what's coming. Because you don't need validation. You've already been vindicated. You don't need revenge. You've already been restored. You don't need to respond, because God already did. Even now, the angels are preparing a visible shift in your atmosphere. Even now, prophetic encounters are aligning to confirm what your spirit has already known. The waiting season is over. The weeping has been answered. The shame is turning to strength. The silence is becoming your stage. The very voices that once dismissed you will need your clarity. The very circles that once broke you will call upon your healing. But you will no longer chase. You will no longer explain. You will no longer beg to be seen. Because heaven sees you. And what heaven sees, heaven elevates. If this message has confirmed your spirit and you feel led to support this divine work, consider giving a super thanks. Even $5, $10, or $20 fuels more prophetic content and helps us continue delivering these holy messages. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating via PayPal using the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. Be sure to subscribe for more prophetic alerts, divine instruction, and spiritual warfare guidance. You're not alone, and this channel is your spiritual covering in a chaotic world. Type "I have been vindicated" in the comments if you receive this divine reversal. Blessing code 3030 is now manifesting heavenly justice across every injustice you've endured. This is the sealing. This is the moment where heaven closes the scroll and rests the sword. You have been warned. You have been guided. You have been empowered. Now, you are being released. The gates of June 17th are nearing their close, and the hour has come for your spirit to stand in full assurance. Not shaken, not second-guessing, not stuck in fear, but standing, bold, anointed, commissioned, and sealed. Let it be known throughout every realm, what they plan will backfire. Yes, what they whispered in darkness will become the megaphone for your deliverance. What they tried to organize behind your back will be unraveled in public before your feet. What they crafted to break your family, God is turning into the foundation for generational unity and restoration. What was meant for evil has triggered divine retaliation, and the protection over your household has been doubled. The enemy came close, closer than you realized. His hands touched the edges of your atmosphere. His whispers grazed the ears of the unguarded. His lies found homes in the vulnerable. But the final outcome was never in his favor. Because you were sealed. Because your name was already in the book. Because heaven had already spoken over your house. Touch not my anointed. Let this be shouted from heaven's courts. You are seen. You are sealed. And you are sent. You were not just reserved, you were positioned. You were not just warned. You were welcomed into a higher realm of revelation and authority. And now, with the heavens as witness, I declare, your house has been marked by the blood of divine protection. Your gates have been sealed with light. Your next steps have been ordered by the fire of God Himself. The traps have been exposed. The masks have fallen. The cycles have broken. Now walk. Walk in peace. Walk in power. Walk in silence when needed and with thunder when called. Because this warning was not just about a moment, it was about a mantle. What was revealed on June 17th will not fade on June 18th. This was a divine marker in the timeline of your destiny. Yes, you will remember this day. Not with trauma, but with triumph. Not with fear, but with reverence. Not with confusion, but with clarity. Because this was the day you saw what you weren't supposed to see. Heard what wasn't meant to reach your ears. And yet you stood still. You obeyed. You responded. And heaven recorded every movement. This final word must be branded into your spirit. You will not be shaken. Not by the phone call. Not by the confrontation. Not by the truth that rises in the days ahead. You will not be shaken by sudden exits. You will not be undone by emotional waves. Because you have built your house on the rock, and no flood will be able to tear down what God has sealed. This is not where it ends. This is where legacy begins. What was disrupted has now been realigned. What was withheld has now been released. What was covered in mystery has now been cloaked in divine clarity. You are no longer the same. Your atmosphere is no longer accessible to darkness. Your gates are under angelic patrol. Your bloodline is surrounded by fire. And your destiny is now visible in the spirit realm. You must walk as one who knows the truth. You must live as one who has been warned, commissioned, and guarded. Speak less. Pray more. Watch carefully. Discern deeply. Move wisely. Because the very fact that this word reached you means that you are no longer in the outer courts. You have been brought closer. You have been entrusted with more. And with that proximity comes precision. With that access comes accountability. Your name is protected. Your voice is authorized. Your assignment is now active. There will be favor ahead, but it is not random. It is a reward. There will be breakthroughs ahead, but they are not for convenience. They are for construction. You are now building legacy, not just living day to day. And the Spirit of God has wrapped His word around your entire household. So let this be your affirmation. Let this be your warfare song. Let this be your morning decree and your midnight shield. I will not be shaken. I will not be moved. I will not be broken. I am chosen. I am covered. I am sent. Say it until heaven responds. Say it until hell backs off. Say it until every atmosphere you walk into begins to tremble with recognition. I, Archangel Michael, now draw the final line around this word. The gates of this prophecy are now sealed with holy fire. The heavens are at rest concerning you. The angels are now stationed. The winds have been commanded. And the verdict is complete. You are untouchable in the spirit and unstoppable in your purpose. Type I am sealed in the comments if you receive the fullness of this word. Blessing code 7171 has now surrounded your household and future with divine security and supernatural rest.